Ryan Yamamoto. This is the minute. The FAA has ordered the grounding of Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes. This comes after a door plug blew out on the Alaska Airlines flight to Southern California on Friday, leaving a hole in the side of the plane. Along with Alaska Airlines, United also said it will suspend all of its 737 MAX 9s. In Berkeley, streets surrounding People's Park are set to reopen today. They have been closed since Thursday due to the construction of student housing projects. Protesters and police clashed over that project last week, leading to multiple arrests. Former Warriors GM Bob Myers is heading to the NFL to help run the Washington Commanders. That's according to ESPN. The Commanders fired head coach Ron Rivera today. Myers won 4 championships with the Warriors and was twice named NBA Executive of the Year. The Bay Area's only primetime newscast, 8 to 9 p.m. on the all-new Pix Plus 44 Cable 12.
Okay, we woke up with a nice batch of cold air this morning. We had a frost advisory. It's going to get a little bit better for Tuesday and Wednesday morning. We're going to be in a little bit of an opening, but there's more cold air coming on Thursday. So Thursday, we're going to probably be right back into frost advisory territory. But it's the rain that's coming in between now and then that's probably going to be a little bit more of a focus and should be. Before I get to that, let's not overlook today. You'll have a pretty good looking afternoon for Monday, but the high clouds will start increasing. And you'll see that they're approaching in advance of the next system, which is bringing us that rain. Daytime highs will be in the mid to upper 50s, so it'll be a nice afternoon in that regard. Let's take a look at the forecast to see what is coming our way. That next system shows up for Tuesday morning, and you can see the initial line comes through right there. So we're going to get some light rain Tuesday morning. Won't be much. And then on Wednesday, the center of the system will come through and we're going to get a little more rain from that. And if we time those out with a little more detail, you can see the Tuesday rain showing up in the late morning and then falling apart as it moves across the bay. And by the time we've gotten to about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's done. And it clears out of here. Watch the cold front leave by the time we get into the early afternoon. And then Tuesday, you'll have blue sky for the afternoon. Wednesday, the rain comes in again. More widespread light showers. You got to plan on a chance of rain at any point on Wednesday. It just won't be a lot because when you look at the totals for both days, Tuesday and Wednesday, that's it. We're getting about 0.15 of an inch of rain out of it, and that's the grand total. So if we look at the 7-day forecast from here, we'll see that there's another opportunity for rain that shows up back here by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. Some disagreement in the forecast models on that one, so we'll keep a close eye on that as it develops, and we'll keep you updated on this chance of rain for the upcoming weekend.
Well, a deadly weekend in Oakland. Police now investigating 3 shootings, bringing the total number of shootings to 4 in just the first week of the new year. The most recent shootings happened yesterday morning around 7:45 on Plymouth Street. Not far from there, a woman was killed on San Leandro Street around 5:45 Saturday night. The third victim was a store clerk on Linden Street, only a block from McClymonds High School. Dodland spoke to his family, his friends, and neighbors about this senseless loss.
The family identified the murder victim as 46-year-old Majed Alazani. The robbery happened on Saturday night just after 8 o'clock inside Orlando's market. The family tells me his brother owns the corner store and Majed had worked there for years.
I want them to remember him as a hard-working man from the Middle East trying to live the American dream, and he was just doing to provide for his family.
Family friend Bazuri Hassan says Majed came from Yemen. His wife and 4 kids live near the store.
Unbelievable, because the family, the kids, everybody have to suffer.
Bazuri says he learned from the family the robbers were a couple of young people. It's unclear why they shot Majed during the robbery and how much they got away. A neighbor's door camera recorded 1 gunshot. Police say family members did not wait for the ambulance and drove Majed to the hospital themselves. He died a short time later.
They've had ATMs yanked out of it to the point where they weren't dealing with ATMs for a while. There have been several incidents in the past of people trying to come in here and rob the store.
Travis Charles lives across the street from the market and has known Majed for almost 12 years. He says Majed was a generous man and sold him a car last March, even though he didn't have enough money. He needed a car to get to work.
I gave him $1,500 as a down payment, and every time I got paid, I gave him $1,000 here, $500 here. He never rushed me, never bugged me.
Many neighbors and longtime customers are heartbroken. They say Majed was a kind man.
I've seen his family grow up, and his kids he has a beautiful family, and I just feel awful for him.
Missouri is angry over the loss of a friend. He's fed up and wants the mayor to declare a state of emergency.
Get some National Guard out here, get the military, try to tackle the situation.
If the city doesn't do more, he worries more people will die.
Non-stop, everyday robberies, killing. I mean, it's like a third world country.
Oakland police say no one has been arrested. The victims' family members say they have turned all surveillance footage over to investigators. As concerns grow over violent crime in Oakland, Mayor Shane Chow and Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price both facing recalls. Many businesses and residents now want something done right now. That includes the owners of the popular La Farine Bakery in Oakland, who became victims of a burglary early Friday morning. They say their business was ransacked and the thieves took off with a safe with cash inside. Between the damage and that safe, he lost about $10,000, and the owner says he's had enough.
They need to put some boots on the ground. We need to have people who are walking the streets and helping us police this whole situation. Because if it doesn't happen, small business owners are fed up. We're going to shut our doors and get the hell out of town.
On that same morning, burglars also broke into Wayland's Meat Market in Copy, USA. The manager at the meat market says it was the second time he had been hit in less than a year. More than 100 Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets are grounded following that terrifying Alaska Airlines flight. A plug door blew off as the plane was taking off from Portland, Oregon on Friday. The pilots also reported pressurization warnings 3 times in the last month. And as Chris Van Cleve reports from Portland International Airport, it's not the first snag for Boeing 737 MAX 9.
Our first look at the crippled Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9. Investigators say damage like this mangled seat has been found in nearly every row. Nicholas Hoke was on the flight Friday night.
A loud boom, or almost like a mini explosion, happens abruptly.
It was a 63-pound piece of the plane known as a plug door blowing out at 16,000 feet, leaving a gaping hole, forcing the 171 passengers and 6 crew to don oxygen masks.
Alaska, copy to declare an emergency. We're descending down to 10,000 and we need to return back to Portland.
Saturday, the FAA grounded all 737 MAX 9s in the U.S., 171 of them for further inspections. Boeing says it fully supports that decision, and safety is our top priority. In March 2019, the MAX was grounded for 619 days after 2 deadly crashes linked to a design flaw in the plane's flight control systems killed 346.
The plane is still here at the Portland airport. It's been pulled over by a hangar where investigators have been working. You can see where that plug door is missing.
The door was found late Sunday night. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy.
What happens if it had been at cruise altitude?
At cruise altitude, we could have lost the aircraft. At that point, the pressure differential is so great that the explosion would have been extremely violent, extremely.
The plane is just weeks old. The NTSB says when that piece blew out, it did so with so much force, it ripped open the locked fortified cockpit door 26 rows away. Boeing is planning a safety summit on Tuesday stemming from this incident.
And still ahead on CBS News Bay Area, how a new law may create a parking nightmare, why spots will be soon disappearing from San Francisco streets. Plus, a new Bay Area group helping bridge gaps from the foster care system and into the world, how they're helping kids and young adults find their own way. And there's a new hope for military veterans suffering from PTSD. A Stanford doctor joins us to explain how a psychoactive drug can help traumatic brain injury.
These are the stories that inspire us.
This is where we're going to build all the bikes.
Connect us.
All right, guys.
Drive us. These are the stories that reveal our true character.
This is the most rewarding thing that I've ever done.
Told by those who believe in the power of community.
Oh my goodness.
Good to see you.
The kinds of stories you'll only see here.
Oh, man.
Our stories define us.
Okay, 7-day forecast has a chance of rain showing up back here for Friday and Saturday. We might get a 1/4 inch of rain out of that one. But before we get there, there's rain coming in on both Tuesday and Wednesday. Neither of these are very impressive. Grand total for both of those, we might come away with about 1/1600ths of an inch of rain. We'll keep a close eye on that system coming our way for Friday, because that one has the potential to turn into something a little more impressive. The models have been in somewhat disagreement on them. So much more in the details over the next few days.
Well, 10 years ago, San Francisco began a program called Vision Zero to end all pedestrian fatalities by 2024. But we are now in 2024, and the program has not reached its goals. Nevertheless, a new state law just went into effect that aims to improve pedestrian safety at crosswalks. John Ramos shows us how.
The purpose of the new law is to increase pedestrian visibility at crosswalks. But there are places in a city like San Francisco where the letter of the law seems a bit impractical. Robbie Harnoy traveled from Connecticut for work and hasn't figured out what to make of San Francisco's traffic.
I've been here for a week and no, I haven't gotten used to it. Yeah, I don't know what's harder, driving or walking.
She's amazed at all the distractions that drivers have to deal with.
There's scooters, there's cable cars, there's people, there are, tents in the middle of the streets. There's a lot of obstacles.
It makes it dangerous for people trying to cross the street, especially when they can be partially hidden by cars parked along the sidewalks.
Yeah, I feel like people can't see me when I'm around the sidewalk, and it feels that way a lot, especially here in San Francisco.
So AB 413 was signed into law and went into effect on January 1st. It prohibits parking within 20 feet of a marked or unmarked crosswalk, so guys like Joe Vitale don't have to wander out into the street to see past the van parked near the corner.
Oh, you don't want to get hit by a car. You got to look around anyway. But I look around anyway. Because here the drivers, oh boy, some of them are bad news.
It's a safety measure known as daylighting that allows more room to see pedestrians waiting at the corner and is already being used in the Tenderloin district. Most corners have barriers that prevent parking near the crosswalks. But in the residential areas of the Sunset District, it's a different story. Resident Lisa Mouton says there's a reason there's so many cars parked on her street.
Well, not just this street. It's just a lot of streets, One person may have like 5 to 6 cars. And that's their privilege, But I think it's unfair because it's keeping the parking away, the people that really need a space.
Here, there are no barriers or red curbs keeping people back, so cars are parked right at the edge of the intersections. According to the new law, these cars are illegally parked, but a resident named Hilton says he doesn't think it's very practical.
It's not going to be possible out here, man.
Why?
Mainly because, look at how tight it is already, and then even at that, it's like when you see people parking out here, even for just a little bit, they just post up on there, get their stuff out of their house, and then come out. If it's illegal, people are just going to be getting tickets left and right.
And he says it's that way in many areas of the city.
Out here in San Francisco, you're fighting for parking as it is, so making it more difficult, and then also the tickets that they do for out here is absolutely ridiculous. You'll go broken in like a month if you end up with that law. It's crazy.
The law already exists, but how much it will be enforced is yet to be seen. For the next year, San Francisco will only be issuing warnings to illegal parkers. But come 2025, the tickets will begin flowing for people parking on the edge.
Well, it's important to note that the new law only applies to unmarked intersections. People could continue to park just outside of the red painted curb, even if it ends within 20 feet of the crosswalk. Meanwhile, a new proposal in the state legislature backed by State Senator Scott Wiener looks to close the so-called locked door loophole. Under current law, in order to convict a suspect of auto burglary, prosecutors have to prove that the car was locked, which at times means victims have to come to court to testify. Senator Wiener says this puts a burden on the victims, especially if they were just visiting the city.
They're not going to fly back from North Carolina or Italy or Florida or wherever to testify that they locked the car door. So this is undermining accountability for people who are breaking in the cars, and we need to get rid of this loophole.
San Francisco DA Brooke Jenkins says there were 15,000 reported auto burglaries in 2023, but that estimate could be low because Police Chief Bill Scott says they often go unreported. Well, they have the cards stacked against them. They are foster kids who have aged out of the system, and once they turn 21, they are left on their own. In fact, 1 in 4 foster youth will experience homelessness within 2 years of aging out of foster care. Only 9% end up enrolling in college, and only 5% graduate. And almost 1 in 3 prison inmates had experience in foster care. But as Julia Goodrich shows us, a nonprofit organization called Beyond Emancipation provides services and support to keep former foster youth on the right path.
23-year-old Jade Clark is walking into a second home of sorts. It is Alameda County's Beyond Emancipation, an Oakland-based nonprofit with a mission to support young people as they move through life beyond foster care.
With the help of IOP and Beyond Emancipation, they were able to help me navigate independence and gratitude and the importance of maturing.
This is our drop-in center where youth can come and hang out during the day, grab a snack, work on their computer, whatever they'd like to do.
BE serves more than 500 youth in 3 core areas of their life: housing, education, and life skills.
We support young folks 14 to 26. We want to really be that bridge and that support system.
There are 20 coaches on staff, like Zion, who became a career coach at BE after graduating from UC Berkeley.
To be a coach, you really just gotta really be in tune with your youth, and understanding that you are an extension of their support, and whatever that looks like, so that you can really be a pillar of support in all those ways.
Jade has been with BE since 2018. After spending some time at juvenile hall when she was younger, she said BE and her coach have helped her become independent, resilient, and a success story.
Makes you think about preparing and your next steps and services that are being offered and the importance of accepting them, being open to them, and all around just truly helping me. So I truly appreciate their services.
A lot of youth that we have come to us, entrusting us. One youth that I have right now currently just got a full-time job working at a grocery store, was living car to car for a long time. And, so now being able to have a space where they can go home and call that home.
DW's goal for Jade?
Tending to whatever needs she may be, whether it's tea, whether it's assisting her with her makeup, just making sure that she feel well-rounded and comfortable in her own skin. Help them with life skills, help them with career goals, help them with education goals. And I want to be able to be a part of their life for just a little longer to be able to see and be a part of their outcome.
She's an intricate working person in my success that keeps me going.
And Jade is indeed on the right track. She wants to mentor other foster youth. She is also getting and working to get her real estate license. And still ahead, war veterans experiencing PTSD could have new tools to help their recovery. A doctor from Stanford joins us to tell us how psychoactive drugs could play a part in their healing. And a reminder, you can stream CBS News Bay Area wherever, whenever. Catch all of our live newscasts plus news and weather updates throughout the day. Find us on the free CBS News app or on Pluto TV.
This is Pix Plus. More of what you want, more often. More local news in the morning and the primetime edition. The only 8 and 9 p.m. news. With Devin Feely, Elizabeth Cook, Juliette Goodrich, and Sarah Donchie. Groundbreaking original storytelling from the KPIX newsroom. Plus Bear Politics, Project Earth, and weather like you've never seen. The primetime edition. Weeknights on the new Pix Plus. 44 Cable 12.
Okay, daytime highs today. After a cold morning, the daytime highs will still stay pretty much on the average side. We should be doing mid to upper 50s this time of year, and that's pretty much exactly what we're going to be doing. Take a look at the North Bay. Your numbers come in that same spot. Let's look ahead. We got a chance of rain coming our way. Going to come in on Tuesday morning and stay with us through Wednesday. But if you look at the totals, we're not getting a lot. So for Tuesday morning's rain, it'll be done by like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. You only get a couple hundredths of an inch of rain. And then Wednesday, same story. That comes through in the morning and the afternoon. And when you add them both up, we're only looking at about 1/10 of an inch of rain. Same story for the South Bay. So not a big rain maker for the system that's coming through on the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. But as we take a look ahead to the next system, that one is getting here in time for Friday and Saturday. And for that one, the odds are a little bit better that we'll get some more meaningful rain. It's just questionable how much. In general, takeaway right now is probably about 1/4 of an inch of rain. Saturday being the primary focus, but the timing may shift a little bit on that. As we get closer to it, we'll keep you updated on it.
Well, there's new hope for military veterans suffering from PTSD. Stanford just released a study about a psychoactive drug meant to help those suffering from traumatic brain injury. According to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, 7% of veterans will experience post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's also more common among female veterans. 13% experience some form of PTSD. And joining us now is Dr. Nolan Williams, as an associate professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at Stanford. So, doctor, first tell us, what is this psychoactive drug and how exactly does it work?
Yeah, it's called ibogaine. It's an atypical psychedelic. It's derived from the root bark of a tree in Africa, and it's been known since 1900 when the French discovered this in Gabon. Before that, it was utilized by the Gabonese for centuries as a tool of social cohesion. And at high doses, this has been used for opiate use disorder outside of the country, outside of the U.S. In Canada and Mexico and other places the last several decades. But recently, veterans have been using it in Mexico for traumatic brain injury and PTSD. And we built a study around this to understand the phenomenon that was going on in Mexico, where about 1,000 now Special Forces veterans have gone down and taken this and have claimed to have gotten a lot better. So in 2018, we built a study where veterans would be brought out to Stanford and evaluated for a couple of days before they went down, and then we would be able to assess the effects after they came back from Mexico at 1 week and 1 month. And what we found was really striking. So all of the disabled, all of the disability scores normalized. People went from mild to moderate disability from traumatic brain injury to no disability. Their post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety were much improved. And basically everybody didn't meet criteria for a lot of those conditions after they returned.
Do you know how that drug is actually working?
We don't. It has a lot of different mechanisms, but the kind of holistic idea is that it increases plasticity in the brain and makes the brain more flexible and able to change.
And I know there was a recent study by Stanford that were looking at also using mushrooms. Is there any relations to how that drug is being used versus this drug?
They both work on the serotonin syndrome, the serotonin system, but this drug works more broadly. So it works on the opiate system, it works on the glutamate system, so it has a much broader set of actions, and that's why we think it affects many more conditions than say psilocybin mushrooms, which has been shown to be an antidepressant drug primarily.
So overall, how effective is that psychoactive drug in treating PTSD, and how does that compare to other treatments for PTSD?
Yeah, the standard treatments for PTSD have been studied in quite in depth for decades, and so we have a lot of data on those. This has a signal of remarkable efficacy. Everybody that received it, that had a PTSD diagnosis, went through a period where they didn't meet criteria for PTSD anymore. That's much more striking than what we see with conventional medications, but it's an open label trial. It's an early trial. So we have a lot of work to do to figure out, is this level of dramatic efficacy sustained when you do all the necessary studies within the United States in controlled settings.
Well, always good information, and I know a lot more study needs to be done, so thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us.
Thank you.
And coming up in our next half hour in CBS News Bay Area, the Golden State Warriors have fallen to last in their division, but there is a bit of hope to turn things around, and a warming planet creates unique challenges for the agricultural industry. A special Project Earth reports on how farmers are adapting.
These are your neighborhoods. This is your world. CBS News Bay Area.
Still ahead on KPI.
With Juliette Goodrich. And the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. Taking you to the day's top stories. Smart, comprehensive coverage. And immersive weather like you have never seen it. Join Juliette Goodrich and Nora O'Donnell. Weeknight 6 to 7:30 on KPIX.
I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is The Minute. A man was shot and killed outside Chase Center in San Francisco. Police found the victim by the side of the arena near 16th Street. This happened on Saturday night. Witnesses say a car may have been involved in that shooting. Police have not identified a suspect. A popular restaurant in Marin County, Nicks Cove, saw the boathouse at the end of their pier. Look at that, go up in flames. The boathouse was completely consumed. Thankfully, no one was in it at the time. No word yet on how that fire started. Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao facing a recall. Some residents are signing a petition to start the process. Critics blame the mayor for the worsening crime in Oakland. The mayor's supporters are asking for more time to turn things around. The Bay Area's only primetime newscast at 8 and 9 p.m. on the all-new Pix Plus 44 Cable 12. In the meantime, I'm Ryan Yamamoto, and this is The Minute.
Okay, we woke up with a nice batch of cold air this morning. We had a frost advisory. It's going to get a little bit better for Tuesday and Wednesday morning. We're going to be in a little bit of an opening, but there's more cold air coming on Thursday. So Thursday, we're going to probably be right back into frost advisory territory. But it's the rain that's coming in between now and then that's probably going to be a little bit more of a focus and should be. Before I get to that, let's not overlook today. You'll have a pretty good looking afternoon for Monday, but the high clouds will start increasing. And you'll see that they're approaching in advance of the next system, which is bringing us that rain. Daytime highs will be in the mid to upper 50s, so it'll be a nice afternoon in that regard. Let's take a look at the forecast to see what is coming our way. That next system shows up for Tuesday morning, and you can see the initial line comes through right there. So we're going to get some light rain Tuesday morning. Won't be much. And then on Wednesday, the center of the system will come through and we're going to get a little more rain from that. And if we time those out with a little more detail, you can see the Tuesday rain showing up in the late morning and then falling apart as it moves across the bay. And by the time we've gotten to about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's done. And it clears out of here. Watch the cold front leave by the time we get into the early afternoon. And then Tuesday, you'll have blue sky for the afternoon. Wednesday, the rain comes in again. More widespread light showers. You got to plan on a chance of rain at any point on Wednesday. It just won't be a lot because when you look at the totals for both days, Tuesday and Wednesday, that's it. We're getting about 0.15 of an inch of rain out of it, and that's the grand total. So if we look at the 7-day forecast from here, we'll see that there's another opportunity for rain that shows up back here. By the time we get to Friday and Saturday, some disagreement in the forecast models on that one, so we'll keep a close eye on that as it develops, and we'll keep you updated on this chance of rain for the upcoming weekend.
Well, Draymond Green is officially back with the Warriors following his 12-game suspension, though he hasn't suited up for any games just yet. He sat on the sidelines last night as the Golden State Warriors faced the Toronto Raptors at Chase Center. The Dubs lost that game 133-118. Draymond has had his share of troubles over the years, but as Sean Chitton has heard from fans, they are ready to see him back in action.
Well, the day after another disappointing game by the Warriors, some signs that Draymond could be coming back on Sunday. We saw that he was at practice and he was involved in the huddles at last night's game. Still very concerning about what we saw yesterday when it comes to the defense. The Warriors unable to beat Toronto. They gave up 76 points against the Raptors in just the first half, now dropping down to last in their division. The good news that is coming out of Sunday, especially when it comes to the defense, Draymond Green has rejoined the team. The NBA lifted his indefinite suspension that was imposed last month after his latest flagrant foul when he hit another player in the face. Fans telling us they are ready to see him back on the court.
I think that he's a veteran and has been on the team for so long with Steph and Clay, so I think that's what we're kind of missing is like the guidance of the young guys. And like I said, he just kind of brings that really good energy and that passionate energy that a lot of people might not like, but I love having him on our team.
I feel happy because now the defense has more help in the middle part of the court.
I think we are missing some good leaders during crunch time because we lost some games in the last minutes, so I think it's very important to have him back.
Head coach Steve Kerr said he doesn't know exactly when Draymond will be ready to take the court again, but he's happy as well to have him back and practicing. But even as we wait for Draymond to get back on the team, we do have some more concerns when it comes to the players. There's a report from ESPN that Chris Paul could be out from 4 to 6 weeks because of a hand injury.
Okay, and turning to weather, whiteout conditions in the Sierra. The UC Berkeley Snow Lab says the Sierra received more than 13 inches of snow in just 24 hours over the weekend, and it's gotten more than 25 inches in the past week. The winter storm prompted some people to cut their weekend ski trips short. Drivers along Highway 50 encountered slick roads and low visibility, and many were stuck in traffic for hours.
The wind is blowing really bad, so it's hard to drive.
And heads up, more snow is expected there tomorrow through Wednesday. And in California, we produce 90% of all tomatoes sold in the U.S. and more than a third of all tomatoes grown on the planet. In today's Project Earth, we followed one tomato farmer during a season of unusually wild weather. And Makovic shows us how he protects his prized heirloom tomatoes as the planet continues to warm.
And look at that, okay? Just gorgeous.
For farmers like Nick Petkoff, it's hard to forget last year's winter and all that rain.
You know, it's both a blessing and a curse when it has too much. Blessing is because there is big drought. We've had that. The curse is you're waiting for your soil to dry out so you can put your plants in.
Nick runs Sunblaze Ranch, 7 acres of fertile soil located in Winters, California. He is known for his heirloom tomatoes.
The whole cluster right here, you're gonna see all the tomatoes, but also the blossoms.
We followed Nick through the 2023 tomato season to get a first-hand look at what it takes to grow these heirlooms in a changing climate. For starters, because of the extreme weather, his plants got into the ground later than usual.
I'd rather have it earlier, but it's just a rainy year, so.
In May, Nick showed us how 7,000 tomato plants were finally in the ground. Brandywines, beefsteaks, zebras, you name it. And Nick was full of hope.
They pretty much are going to give you every color, every single shape that exists out there, so your table's going to look beautiful.
Outside, as the plants were beginning to form fruit.
That's the nursery of the Sunblaze Ranch. This is where all the magic starts.
Nick brought us inside his greenhouse to show us rows and rows of tomato seeds just beginning to sprout. Nick staggers the planting of his crops, which extends his season.
Sometimes they go to Thanksgiving. Over the years, I think one year I've had them fresh on Christmas. The frost never came.
But a changing climate can throw a few curveballs. In 2022, a heat wave ruined many of Nick's prized heirloom tomatoes, cooking some of them right on the vine. Last July, he was prepared to keep his tomatoes cooler.
Sunflowers, that row of sunflowers in the springtime, this is over 10 feet high. I would say even, 12 to 13 feet. So all these are protecting the next couple of rows of tomatoes.
Nick and his team planted rows of sunflowers to shade his tomatoes from the intense afternoon sun, and the strategy worked.
So far, I have not seen a single tomato burned when it's shaded.
He's also experimenting with shielding other crops from the hot sun using special fabrics.
We measured that to give 30% shade.
While Sunblaze Ranch battled a few cold nights and worrisome frosts, Nick and his team emerged with a huge crop of healthy, plump tomatoes.
See you Sunday, brother.
As they drew a bumper crop of customers at the farmers market in San Rafael.
So this is the Beef Master.
Fantastic. Yeah, just delicious. Grown beautifully.
Among his fans, Kendra Coling, also known as the farmer's wife. Kendra makes award-winning, melty, crunchy, intricately layered sandwiches.
We are in October and we're getting some of the best tomatoes still. There's nothing like a late season tomato.
We caught up with Kendra at her shop in Point Reyes. Here she whipped up a BLT, telling us the centerpiece is not the bacon.
The bacon should take the backseat as the supporting character. Really, it's all about the seasonal tomato.
Kendra depends on locally sourced ingredients, and she's concerned about the warming planet.
Nothing's really predictable anymore these days. The weather, our crops, our livelihood.
As for Nick, he too is concerned, but he's determined to face any adversity head on.
We would hope for the best, but then we're going to have to go with the weather. What's that going to look like, I don't know.
As a farmer, Nick remains optimistic. He expects to transplant his first seedlings during the first weeks of April.
Up next, it might have looked more like the preseason game at Levi's, but the Niners are already focused on what matters the most. We hear from the locker room with the playoffs finally arriving.
Your late night is getting a whole lot better for 2 reasons. Sarah and Stephen. The Late News with Sarah Donchie. And The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Back with all new episodes.
Really?
These are 2 shows you'll want to spend the night with.
Then go to sleep knowing you won at TV. What?
Record it, stream it, watch it live. The Late News and the all-new Late Show. Weeknights starting at 11 on KPIX.
Okay, 7-day forecast has a chance of rain showing up back here for Friday and Saturday. We might get a 1/4 of an inch of rain out of that one. But before we get there, there's rain coming in on both Tuesday and Wednesday. Neither of these are very impressive. Grand total for both of those, we might come away with about 1/1600ths of an inch of rain. We'll keep a close eye on that system coming our way for Friday, because that one has the potential to turn into something a little more impressive. The models have been in somewhat disagreement on them. So much more in the details over the next few days.
Well, the 49ers fell short in the regular season finale, but now, as Vern Glenn explains, it's time to reset after clinching a first-round bye in the playoffs.
This is the Volkswagen Red and Gold Report.
With the #1 seed already clinched, Sunday might have been the only time you see Kyle Shanahan crack a smile after losing to the Rams.
Is it particularly annoying to lose to Sean McVay?
No, I'm all right. I mean, it's annoying to lose to everybody.
The 49ers jumped out to a 20-7 lead, but were shut out in the second half in what felt like a preseason game. Sam Darnold's fumble in the final minute ended a potential comeback. San Francisco will now enter its bye week as the other 6 teams in the NFC battle it out over Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah, I feel like this is just going to be a great week for us to just get better as a team, just so we make sure that we're the best version of ourselves for when that moment comes, whoever has to come to Levi.
We pictured ourselves being for a while now since our season ended last year, so here we are in that position, so we're excited.
With a Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
And coming up is one of Hollywood's biggest award shows. We're talking about the Golden Globes, and we'll have all the big winners and the big surprises.
I would like to see the headlines that the national press picks up on and say, look, there's another side to the Bay Area.
We take those headlines a little step further to sort of connect all these wonderful communities here.
Really embracing the positivity and hopefully spreading it.
The Bay Area is full of some amazing, innovative change makers.
People that are out there making a difference.
In fact, I feel privileged that I get to share those stories.
Wake up with the Morning Edition, weekdays on KPIX.
Okay, daytime highs today. After a cold morning, the daytime highs will still stay pretty much on the average side. We should be doing mid to upper 50s this time of year, and that's pretty much exactly what we're going to be doing. Take a look at the North Bay. Your numbers come in that same spot. Let's look ahead. We got a chance of rain coming our way. Going to come in on Tuesday morning and stay with us through Wednesday. But if you look at the totals, we're not getting a lot. So for Tuesday morning's rain, it'll be done by like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. You only get a couple hundredths of an inch of rain. And then Wednesday, same story. That comes through in the morning and the afternoon. And when you add them both up, we're only looking at about a 1/10 of an inch of rain. Same story for the South Bay. So not a big rainmaker for the system that's coming through on the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. But as we take a look ahead to the next system, that one is getting here in time for Friday and Saturday. And for that one, the odds are a little bit better that we'll get some more meaningful rain. It's just questionable how much. In general, takeaway right now is probably about a 1/4 of an inch of rain. Saturday being the primary focus, but the timing may shift a little bit on that. As we get closer to it, we'll keep you updated on it.
Well, it's a big night for Oppenheimer, Succession, and The Bear, the 81st Golden Globe Awards. Danya Backus has all the highlights, including the big winners from the first award show of 2024.
Oppenheimer dominated the Golden Globes, winning 5 awards, including Best Drama, Best Actor for Cillian Murphy, Best Supporting Actor for Robert Downey Jr., and Best Director for Christopher Nolan.
We bring people together and we try and get them to give us their best.
The top comedy musical film prize went to Poor Things, for which Emma Stone also nabbed the Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical award.
I love getting to say this dialogue.
The holdovers Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph won awards for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical and Best Supporting Actress, while Indigenous actress Lily Gladstone made history for Killers of the Flower Moon.
I love everyone in this room right now.
On the television side, Hulu's The Bear dominated the comedic categories with wins for Best Actor Jeremy Allen White, Best Actress Ayo Debris, and Best Television Comedy Series.
Thank you to the entire restaurant community.
HBO Succession took top television drama as well as acting awards for Kieran Culkin, Sarah Snook, and supporting actor Matthew McFadden. Beef nabbed the Best Limited TV Series prize.
And Beef star Ali Wong, who is a San Francisco native, she made history as the first Asian American woman to win a Golden Globe for the Best Actress in the Limited Series category. Her co-star Steve Wen also won. Now for a look at some of today's most talked about stories. How much would you pay for a drinking cup? By now, you might have seen these viral videos of shoppers rushing to get their hands on limited edition red and pink Stanley tumblers. Target and Starbucks released the trendy cups last week. Now, some of them are popping up on resale sites like eBay for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The cup retails for $45. Wow. Okay, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Stevie Nicks will be one of the headliners at Bottle Rock this year. The lineup for the Napa Valley Music Festival just dropped. It also includes Pearl Jam, Latin pop rock band Maná, and artist Ed Sheeran, who's coming off his Mathematics tour. This year's lineup includes more than 75 artists. Bottle Rock kicks off Friday, May 24th. We have more information at kpix.com. Turns out Neptune and Uranus may look very similar, more similar than previously thought, at least when it comes to their true colors. NASA captured the first close-up images of the planets more than 30 years ago. At the time, Neptune had a striking deep blue color, while Uranus had kind of a pale cyan color, but a team at the University of Oxford recently found they both actually have a similar greenish blue hue. Okay, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. We'll be right back with your first look forecast and a look at your top stories. is the minute the FAA has ordered the grounding of Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes. This comes after a door plug blew out on the Alaska Airlines flight to Southern California on Friday, leaving a hole in the side of the plane. Along with Alaska Airlines, United also said it will suspend all of its 737 MAX 9s. And Berkeley, streets surrounding People's Park are set to reopen today. They have been closed since Thursday due to the construction of student housing projects. Protesters